Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna go ahead and create a video on how to send the macros. This is for Swift drivers, Swift new drivers who are done with the training with the mentor, but you consider you need more help sending the macros. I know that it's after I came back from training with mentor, it still took me some time to figure them out, send them, get used to them and all that, because sometimes when you're on the road with the mentor, sometimes there's too many things that you have to be like constantly worried about, that the macros is the last thing you want to think about sometimes. So I'm here with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to make it as short as possible, hopefully. And so without any further ado, let's keep watching. Let's keep watching. Okay, so the first macro that I want to show you guys. So this is the macro homepage. The first macro that I want to show you guys, it's the freeform. That's considered to be the macro 0. This macro, it's a really good macro. If you want to send some specific information to your driver leader dispatch and you have a hard time calling them, or whatever the case may be, they don't answer, but you want to keep them informed or ask them a question or anything, you could send a message through the freeform macro. You could put something like to dispatch and driver leader and their name, and then you could put something like your name, Vilma Cisneros, Vilma Cisneros, let's say something like that. Cisneros, something, truck. They usually know the number, but I'm just like, always write it down. 20, whatever the truck number is. Then trailer number, whatever. And then with regarding trip number such and such, and then you send it, okay? And that will be a free form. If you want to ask him a question, if you want to ask for detention pay, or I don't know, whatever it may be, just an example, you go ahead and send a free form. It's very good. It goes through every single person, and then they would answer. Sometimes it might take a minute, but at least you send the macro and you have evidence that you send the macro. It's really good. Then, okay, the other macro that I want to show you guys, it's macro 1. This is the arrival shipper. Make sure this macro, you send it every single time you arrive to a customer. Make sure you send it, confirm, and send. It's very important because you want to make sure that you get paid for your detention, and as soon as you arrive, you don't want to be marked as late or anything. That is very important for Swift. So just make sure you're sending your macro 1. Macro 2 is the loaded call. You want to make sure to send it every single time that you pick up a load. You go ahead and to send this macro, you put your ETA for next stop. That would be the appointment that you have for the next stop, okay? So whatever appointment they send you on the message, that you're supposed to get at the terminal, at your final destination, that's what you put over here, okay? You put the date, whatever, so if it's the 14th, and the time. Let's say it's at 12 p.m. There you go, 12 p.m. And then your PTA for your next load assignment. For your PTA, you consider whatever time you have on your zoner. That's whatever you're going to put yourself. And depending on that, you put your PTA and all of that. And then for your solo hours driving, the way you would put that, let's say you have 9 hours and 30 minutes of drive left, you will put that 09.00. And if you have 30 minutes left of drive, 9 hours and 30 minutes. That's how you will write it down, okay? Let's say you have 10 hours and 5 minutes to drive. You will put it 10.0000.05. Okay, that's how it will look. Okay, oops. Okay, now teaming hours and all of that, you don't really need to send that when you're a solo. I mean, you don't need it. Send it. You put your bill L numbers, whatever number that is, you put it over here. Then you put the weight of the load, whatever, 45,000. Oops, you put it like that, 45,000. Your pieces, whatever, if it's 95, you put 95. Right here, this part, it's for those of you who have reefers. The BOL temp, that will be the temperature that's on the BOLs, on the documents, on the paperwork they give you at the shipper office. You put whatever temperature. The set temperature is the temperature you're gonna set the reefer at or to. Usually if it's a preload, they should already be set up to a certain temperature. But if it's not and they just load you up, you would set it up yourself. And then you will make sure that the box says the same temperature that they have on the bill lading and also on the set. And then the pulp, same thing. You put the same temperature for all four, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, those temperatures have to be the same. If you don't put the same temperature, it's going to send you an error message. Product, if you know the product type, you write it down. If not, you could leave it blank. The bulkhead, you could leave that blank. And force block applied, that will be a yes all the time. Hazmat, you don't have to worry about that. Just leave it blank. Destination on bills match dispatch. You want to make sure that the address matches to the address you have on your zoner. That is the address you're going to go deliver the load to. Then the seal number, you will write it down right here. The pallets, you could leave that empty. And then you put down the trailer number that you're dropping and the trailer number that you're picking up. If by any means you are not picking up by any means you're keeping the same trailer, you do not have to write anything down on this part on the trailer drop or trailer picked up, because you're keeping the same trailer and dispatch knows about it. So you could just send the macro. There's nothing else right here. Now there's two macros, 3 and 4. There's two macros right here, or only you're supposed to send them if you have multiple stops, okay? So macro 3 would be the arrive at shipper, but instead it will be to the next stop, okay? So arrived at stop number, if it's your first stop, you put stop number 1, and then you would send it. And then if it's your second stop, you put 2. If it's 3, 3. And then macro 4, it would be like sending like that you're leaving from that stop. You put the load number, trip number, that is the stop number 1, 2, or 3, whatever the case may be. The ETA for your next stop, that would be the time that you are scheduled to deliver the next load. Right, you would write date and time, okay? There you go. And then same, you will put the solo hours that you have left, same like on macro 1, on macro 2, I mean, the hour and minute. Then you will put the name of the person who received the load, the BOL number, PO, the weight, pieces. If you have a reefer, you put this. If you don't have to worry about it. Bulkhead, nada, nope. Driver unload. This one you always have to put a no if it's a no, or a yes if it's a yes. Make sure you always choose one of the two. If you leave it blank, it's gonna send you an error message. Pallets, you don't have to worry about it. Trailer picking up, dropped or picking up, for those, if you're keeping the same trailer, you just leave it blank. If you're taking a different trailer, you will go ahead and write it down. Now, macro 5, it's the arrive at final destination. Same as macro 1, you want to make sure to always send it as soon as you arrive to the customer. And you press send, okay? Because you want to make sure you get paid for your detention if they take too long, more than 2 hours. And let's say the empty call, It's very important too. You put your PTA right here. That's based on the time you have on your clocks, that is. And then you put the day when you're available for the next load. You put okay. Time you have for driving, minutes. And then teaming, you don't have to worry about. This lines right here, you don't have to worry about. You just put the name of the person who picked up, or got the load. On that, I always put like an X. Oops, X. If you're able to figure out who was the person who got your load, you could write it down. If you didn't, usually they sign your bills, your documents, your paperwork, so you should be good to go with that, with just an X. At least I haven't had an issue with that. I don't know, depends on your driver leader, I guess. Then you put on forward lock removed, you have to put a yes. For the fuel level, you would put from 1 through 8, okay? You check on the gauge, and it should tell you how much fuel you need or you have. So you just put, if it's between 3 and 4, you would put a 3. If it's between 4 and 5, you would put a 4. The less, the better, so that, they give you more fuel. You shouldn't have any issues with that. And then driver unload, make sure, always put a no. If not, you're gonna get an error message back and you'll have to send the macro again. Pallets, you don't have to worry about that. Trailer drop, same thing. If whatever trailer you're picking up, you write it down. Whatever trailer you're dropping off, you try to write it down. And whatever trailer you're picking up, you write it down. If you're keeping the same trailer, leave it blank. Thank you. And then you just send it, okay? Now, macro, let's see, macro 8. Macro 8, it's your home time. You just write it down. It looks like so. Put your driver code, zip code of where you want to get your home time, date you're starting your home time. If you're going home time now, you put yes or no, and then number of days you plan to be home. Depends on you, okay? Macro 10 is the planner message. It's very important. It's really good if you want to send them a message, whatever's, if you're OTR specifically. And then you just put if there's a issue with the trailer, yes or no. Are you pre-planned, yes or no? Are you dispatched, yes or no? Your phone number and a comment, whatever you want to let them know, ask them, whatever's, that's where you would put it on the comment. And then macro 12 is really good if you are about to arrive to a customer, or you're a couple miles away and you want to know the streets that you're gonna be exiting and stuff like that. You send direction requested, and they're gonna send you the street names and all of that. It's a really good macro. I send it very often to give myself an idea what streets are the ones that I'm gonna be driving through, and I check them on Google Maps, and it really helps. Macro 13, macro 13, it's a direct message. If you know the person's name or code that you want to send a message to, your driver leader, whoever it may be, you could send it through this macro. You send a message and write the message down, and then you just send it. It's a really good macro. Okay, the next macro is 22. This is the macro 22. It's if you're running late. It's very important to write the trip number down. For the ETA to pick up, that it's the time at which you're gonna get to pick up the load. If you have already picked up the load, you put the pickup time that it's on the schedule that they gave you, okay? On the message, when they send you the origin message, you put the date and time, okay, of that. Then the ETA to delivery, that's the time in which you're gonna get to your delivery, okay? Make sure to be very specific. Make sure you check everything, and then put the date and the time. The PTA, that's gonna depend on you, depending on when you are able to pick up a next load, okay? And then, are you shut down? You put yes or no. Specific location, make sure you write down the location. If not, you're gonna have to send the message again, macro again, I mean. And then the reason why, be specific. It's very important to be specific. There you go. You would just send the macro through. And oops. Now macros 32. macro 32, it's really important. So you want to make sure to send this macro every single time before taking a 10-hour reset or a 34. It is very important. Whenever you are stopping for the night, or whenever you have to take your 10-hour break, make sure to walk around your truck, check the lights, check for any flat tires, make sure no debris, nothing stuck, and send the macro through. I've had situations where, like, sometimes, like, maybe I went to sleep, didn't fully check the truck or the trailer, wake up, and I had a flat tire, and it could have been I could have, like, noticed it the night before, because I didn't do my walk around. Maybe, I wake up with a flat tire. Now, every single time that I go do my 10-hour reset, or I go to eat something and I come back, I'm always checking my truck, the tires, the lights, that everything is in good condition. So, like, the next day that I wake up, I'm ready to go. So for this macro, I have examined the vehicle below, including the parts and accessories. You put yes. Vehicle condition is satisfactory. You put yes. And then your driver code, date, truck number, and trailer. If your truck has issues, this part could be kind of complicated. So what I would suggest is, like, leave it at here, send the macro, and then go ahead and send a macro 55. That's a breakdown macro, okay? So, because this part, sometimes you try to send it and it's hard to send it through. So if you find any issues, send your normal post trip and all of that, and then just send a macro 55, and you're going to be better off and call on-road immediately. But, for the most part, if you are always checking up on your truck and the trailer, you shouldn't have any issues. Now, macro 34, it has this macro 34. There's two of those. The first one is to check your PTA for when your PTA set up, and then the second macro 34 is to send your new PTA if you want to change it. Okay, so it looks like something like that. You just write the ETA for your next stop and the PTA when, the reason, and then you put all the other information if you want to check current PTA. And then this one right here, planner information, and then trainee ready to run as team. You don't have to do those. You can leave those blank. Now, macros 39, it's the goal. Get out and look. Make sure you're sending this macro. Verify the space in the back, clearance, and doors secure, yes. And then you put the trailer plate number. It's very important. There you go. And then you would just send it through, and you make sure to send that macro whenever you're backing anywhere, anything. Make sure that when you're backing, you're checking those car haulers, those trucks that stick out the most, like the Peterbilts, those, really nice trucks, but they take so much space. Check those whenever you're back into places. You don't want to hit any of those. Macro 50, it's another macro. It's where you would put the weight. The steers are the weight for the front tires, the drive tires, the trailer all the way to the back. You put the scaling location where you scale the load, and the trailer tandem set at 40-foot mark. That was always a yes. Make sure you always put a yes. If not, you're gonna send an error message, especially if you're going to California. Make sure you're always sending this macro as well. You don't want to get a ticket for being overweight. Then another macro would be macro 52. This macro, it's very important. If you have an accident, you want to make sure to send it ASAP. Put date and time, location, city, and the street name. You put you answer all these questions to the best of your ability. Any injuries, ambulance, type of injury, if you know, make sure you you find that out. Put if the vehicle is drivable, if any any leaks that you have to get cleaned up and stuff like that. Tow truck, if you need that, make sure you figure that out. Who was driving, driver 1 or 2, your number, phone number, and message, and call claims immediately. Make sure to call them ASAP, okay? Let's see what else. Macro 55, it's the breakdown macro. Where are you? Here. Okay, macro 55. It's a breakdown macro. If you have a flat tire, if something's wrong with the truck, trailer, anything that air leak, anything, send it in. Repair new, yes or no. Complete it, yes or no. Your phone number, location. Problem with the tractor, you put a yes or a no. Problem with the trailer, yes or no. Problem with reefer trailer, yes or no. Problem with the reefer engine, yes or no. Mechanical, yes or no. Tire, yes or no. And repairs and all of that. And make sure right after you send them macros, call the breakdown hotline. The reason why is because even though you send this macro, it doesn't mean they're gonna call you immediately. They might take 1-2 hours, whereas if you call them right away, it might take less time. So you want to make sure to send it and call them immediately, okay? And the other macro that I want to show you guys, it's macro 59. This macro, it's very important, especially like if you're delivering a live unload. Especially if you're doing a live unload and you're done getting unloaded, or at least they've told you are, and then you go check and close the doors, and then you figure out you still have some boxes of products on the trailer that you don't know what the heck is going on. You go back to the shipper, to the office, ask them what are those boxes, what's going on, and they're gonna tell you whether it's product that's damaged, product that's not theirs, they don't want it, whatever the case may be. They're gonna tell you. You choose which trip number it was from. You choose from here, and then you put stop number. That will be your final location. Since you're getting unloaded, you put for the stop number, you put stop 90, which is your final location. At first I thought that it would be like stop number 1, but nope, it's the 90 location. Then you put truck number 1, truck number, whatever your truck number is. If the product was refused, yes or no. Is for the shifted load, usually what for that one, it's like if more than 1 to 2 pallets have been shifted, it would be a yes. If it's like just a few boxes, I guess you put a no. Now full load refused, you put yes or no. Pallets, yes or no. And then product details. So if you have multiple products, let me see if I could show you that one better like that. You see? See, like product number 1, you put wrong product, over, short, damage, wrong PO, or wet. You put the reason, and then you put the barcode number here if you can, and then the name of the product and how many boxes or cases you have. Make sure, this is very important because you're gonna call claims right after and give them all the information. Then if you have multiple products, you have more options, so you could put the names of the products. If you have way too much and you don't have space, it's okay, you're gonna call claims anyways, and you're gonna let them know. Make sure you take pictures of the boxes, barcode, and everything, and be specific. Don't worry, claims is gonna take care of all of that. Just make sure to send the macro so they're informed and aware of everything. Send the free form if anything, and call your driver leader or your dispatch, and they're gonna fix all of that, and they're gonna tell you where to take the load. Usually they're gonna tell you to where to take the OSND. Usually they're gonna tell you to take it to a terminal or something. I forgot this macro, but I think it's good for you guys to know. The lumper macro, it's Macro 40. This one right here. For the lumper, it's macro 40. You're gonna put the trip number, the stop, the amount, usually the at your final location receiving the or they're gonna give you the amount. They're gonna text you the amount. They're gonna tell you they're gonna take a come check, come data, credit, debit card, whatever they're gonna tell you. They're gonna give you the company name, ask for the tax ID. The customer should be able to give you that information. And then, does the amount contain any other of the following services besides lumper? For that one, usually it's like a no, unless otherwise said. But that's the macro 40. It's macro that you should know as well. Okay. Okay, so there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, that you learned something from it. Sorry that I try to make it as short as possible, but this video is just kind of long because there's a lot of macros that I had to cover. I wanted to make sure to give some insight and all that. So I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to comment down below. Let me know if you want any particular videos for me to record and stuff. So let me know, and we're gonna I'll keep making content for you guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.